Oh, how you come back after that illustration? That's the end of the show. That was a great illustration. Only thing I would add to that is that for those that are concerned about the safety and the security of their vote, is that you do have opportunities to engage. And when I say that, I mean paid engagement. So the clerk's office is currently looking for poll workers. And so if you have some concerns and you want to take it a step further, sign up to be a poll worker where you can be a part of the process. So it's critically important that you not just, complain, but get engaged, and you can be paid for your engagement.
Mm-hmm. If I could, Kenneth, just real quick on that, because I challenge that, because you're right, Kenneth. The city county council was allocated right during COVID $1 million because of COVID, so that people could have those alternatives to cast their vote. Okay? Now, I want to ask you where the $1 million go, because I wasn't sitting it in the primary. But they said it was split between the primary and the general election. So you're right. There are income opportunities for people to become engaged. They've got the money to pay for the PPE, to protect, the hand washing, the gloves, the masks, the whole and the youth. The youth.
Yep.
There's not really, 15, 16 years old. They can go earn some money.
Absolutely.
Get credit for classes.
Yep.
Yeah. What'd you say, Dwayne? Yeah, schools are out. Yeah, so they can't volunteer that day. Yeah,
and they can even get paid.
Shout out to Dwayne Ingram, who's running my camera right here. He was on my show last year when he ran for city county councilor. So I just kind of want to dive a little bit deep when you talk about giving up your key, because I think what a lot of people don't realize, especially because this whole thing that's going on with Trump and Biden, and people are not happy with the candidates that are running. I get it. You have to choose between the lesser two evils. But when you don't show up on that day, like you said, let's bring it locally. When you don't show up to vote because you don't want to vote for the president, you are also giving up your key to local access. So you're giving up your key to vote for the judges, like you said, the attorney general. Let's talk about the school board. What's going on in Louisville with the attorney general. That's a voted position. So we're upset because Breonna Taylor hasn't gotten justice. But what we don't realize is if we didn't take our ass to the poll, then he wouldn't, then that's why he's there. Exactly. So you're upset. But did you go vote? Did you put him in office? So when you don't show up on the 3rd, then you are locally, it's catastrophic on a local level, and we don't see the change that we need to see.
Well, and let me just say on that one, boy, that's a whole nother show in and of itself.
It is.
The criminal justice system, the injustice.
But we can talk about it because it's tangible as to why the power of your vote. So we can talk about it today.
To that case in particular that you speak of, baby sis, I mean, right now they're complaining about the attorney general, okay, and how it was handled. Well, guess what? That's an elected position.
Exactly.
So if you didn't vote for the attorney general, then you get what you get.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you're not pleased with that outcome, and then the other thing, I want to go back to my grassroots, okay, my advocacy. Then if you don't like it, okay, then why don't you go and speak up and say something about it? Because if you sat at home and did not vote, and when you look at the judges elected, when you look at the attorney general elected, when you look at the mayor elected, okay, then if you are upset because you are not pleased with the outcome of that tragic incident with Breonna Taylor, then you gave up your key to make a difference. You didn't open up that door of opportunity that you had. And so you get what you get.
You get what you get.
And so if people, now that we're in this metamorphosis, in this, not only just here locally, but on a national, even a global level, okay, everybody's looking and rethinking, and old wounds are resurfacing, and new wounds, or rather, there's new elements and new perspectives and visions. But now more than ever, if you don't use your key, okay, you are locking yourself out of opportunity. And I don't know any other way to say it, make it clear, paint a picture. So don't complain then when you have a district attorney, a prosecutor, a mayor, a governor, a school board member that does not speak to you. Because once they, and I see this is one of the other questions, I want to go off in it too much. But because once they get in there, it raises their accountability and responsibility. It doesn't diminish because they've got an office that they can get comfortable. Right. No. That's when the real work is supposed to begin.
Yeah, that is our question. But I also want to address, I want to put this out there and see what your thoughts are, because there's this thing about not voting because neither candidate has a clear Black agenda. And so as Black people, we should withhold our vote because of that. So I want to talk about that. We're going to go there and have that conversation. So, Kenneth, what are your thoughts on, people who are saying, and because there's been some celebrities who've come out and said that. There's been some people locally who've come out and said that. Nationally who've come out and said that. So what are your thoughts on, the advice that people are coming out and saying, as Black people, we should withhold our vote because there's not a clear Black agenda? One, we'll say specifically Biden. Trump don't give a damn about us. And the crazy part is they're not saying withhold your vote from him. They're saying withhold your vote from Biden. But anyway, we got a known racist in office. So, Kenneth, what are your thoughts about that in terms of withholding the vote because there's no Black agenda?
Yeah, I just want to say something about the last question before I answer that. One of the things that too often we don't educate people on is that if you elect somebody and they are not advocating or serving you, you don't have to wait to the next election for them to not be in office. There are plenty of people, what I call artists formerly known as public servants, who were not representing the people they serve, and there was enough pressure put on their party and that person that individual resigned. So that's one thing that I think we don't educate a lot of people that, okay, you voted for somebody, they're in, they're not serving you. What do? Do we wait to the next election? No, you don't have to wait to the next election. You put enough pressure on that person's political party and that individual will be the artist formerly known as a public servant. So I just wanted to add that piece in there. But to your next question, that's crazy. I honestly don't really care whether or not neither one of them have a Black agenda because they're not Black. I think it's the responsibility of Black people to have a Black agenda to move our issues forward. I do know that we live in America, we live in a democratic society, so policy impacts, and so we need to make sure that we're in key positions to impact policy. But candidates, whether or not they have a Black agenda, is not going to be my deciding vote on how I vote for them.
Okay.
Let me just say this. I'm comfortable in my skin, okay? I was born Black. And as far as I know, I'm not going to change, so I'm going to die Black.
Right.
Okay, but I'm trying to pull on that. So with that being said, and being that I am that grassroots community organizer, okay, then my advocacy is to that point that I'm going to make sure that I stay the driver of my emotional bus for my Blackness. Yeah. I'm not going to relegate my validation of my Blackness to somebody else. They can look at you and tell who you are, okay? Right. And even if you got one drop of it, society's going to paint you, So it is what it is. Now, in terms of a candidate and formulating a Black agenda, see, there again, and can be very controversial. I think, again, we're giving up too much power because we have expectations of political candidates to embrace our Black agenda when we should be setting our own Black agenda by your own personal advocacy for loving who you are, believing in who you can be, and your dreams can come true. So I'm not going to relinquish just my Black agenda because, we already know what I call him Cheeto Man. Okay, we already know what Cheeto Man, and I don't even give it 45 because see, that means I'm validating that he made president. I don't even go there. I say Cheeto Man or Pinocchio. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there, okay? Mm-hmm. So, again, even with Biden, does anybody 100% agree with either candidate? No. But at this point, again, to exercise your key, okay, then you vote for that candidate that you feel best aligns. And like we said just earlier in this conversation, you don't stop the advocacy because they're in office. Right. It's like, and a lot of people say, oh, don't say that. But in a way, for some people, it's like the lesser of two evils. Mm-hmm. I don't really like either one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this, I'm just saying in the vernacular, just speaking in general. Whoever you vote for, whatever level of office it is, it's not going to probably 100% align with what you want, but then you take part of your own black agenda, and once that person is elected, then you make it known. This is what I want you to do. These are the questions I have for you. And so you create your own. You stay in the driver's seat of your own black agenda. Don't leave it to a politician to formulate it and write it for you and say, here's the book on black agenda.
Right. And then on top of that, when you look at the structure, what we really need to be focused on is the House and the Senate. So, okay, you're saying Biden or they're not even concerned about 45 Cheeto. So they're saying, Biden doesn't have a black agenda, but who are you sending to represent you in the House and the Senate? Yeah. Are you asking, do they have a black agenda? So that's where the power really comes from. I don't want to say that the president is just a figurehead, but in essence, he's kind of like an ambassador, and there he does have power, but the real power lies in the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. So who's going to represent you there? That's where we need to be saying, does this person align with what I believe? Is this person advocating for me as a black person? I mean, are they addressing issues that affect our communities? When you send Andre Carson, when you send, who else is in, Nancy Pelosi, when you send, who was the Speaker of the House before her? That was, what was his name?
Boehner. Was it Boehner?
Boehner, okay. Now, who was over the Senate?
Mitch McConnell's currently.
McConnell, okay. Mm-hmm. So when you send them to sit, are you asking them, do they have a black agenda?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're not.
And that's my
but
point.
you voting for them, you know what I'm saying? And that's who has the power to really affect what's going on a federal level. On a local level, in terms of, are you checking your local representatives to see, do they have a black agenda? Are you holding them accountable?
Well, I mean, I definitely, I get into trouble sometimes, but, again, it's not anything personal. It's always about the advocacy of those that don't have a voice and those feel like they don't have any value or they're not going to care, okay? And I will never give up empowering people to know, yes, you can make a difference. I don't care if you're homeless and living in the street and on the woods. You can make a difference. And so with that, like you pointed out, like in Government 101, there's 3 branches of government. They're supposed to be a check and balance of each other. Right. Executive, legislative, and judicial. Right. Unfortunately, right now, that check and balance is not effective.
Right.
Because you have all of these gerrymandering, you have these standoffs, you have this, it's my way or the highway. And so that's why the movement has also gone, to call your state representative, call your state senator, call your elected, representatives, that serve in Washington, and let your voice be known. There's several movements that are going on right now that are holding elected officials accountable and responsible. Now, each one has their particular bailiwick, of what are their concerns. But that's when the advocacy, and the right to challenge those individuals is at its greatest. It's like if you're a parent and you have a problem with your child at school. Okay, one parent. Okay, whatever. Let's give them a call. 2 parents show up with the same concern. Okay, all right, whatever. 3 parents show up. Oh, now we might have a problem, right? 5 parents show up. Okay, we need to have a meeting. So in other words, the more that the volume and the people, if we can ever get to the point that working together does work, unity in the community does make a difference, can make a difference, will make a difference. Until we get to that point, then you know what? We get what we get. Yep. If you don't want to use your voice and use that key.
We are going to take a commercial break. I got to pay some bills, y'all. So if you've been tuned in to Let's Go There with Cassandra, we are talking about the power of your voice, a community leader's perspective, Facebook Live, and we are also on www.letsgothereradioshow.com. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. You're tuned in.
Family and Community Partners, LLC, is a private, community-based mental health care provider located at 3921 North Meridian Street, Suite 210.